Hi there, students. Interval. Okay, an interval is a noun. It can have various different meanings. So, a distance in space, the interval between my two fingers. Or we're going to put posts to make this fence, and the posts are going to be at an interval of 2 meters between each other. An interval could be a period of time. So the interval between periods of sleep is perhaps 16 to 18 hours. Or the interval between going to work and coming home again. The interval between the contractions during childbirth. Now, in British English, the interval can be in a theatre during a play when the play stops at the end of part 1, and then you have a little period of time where you go to the bar for a couple of drinks, and then it starts again. So an intermission, an interval, a scheduled intermission between periods of play in a game either. As well, for example, in cricket you have an interval for lunch and an interval for tea. Okay, it's like a break, a period of inactivity. So, interval. At intervals separated by a particular amount of space or time. This light flashes at an interval or at intervals of 1 second. Okay, so this interval, a space between objects, between points, between units, a space between time. So there were hurdles at intervals of 20 meters. We did exercise with an interval of 3 minutes between exercises. Interval training in a workout where you do something and then you rest a little bit and then you do it again. The interval training. Okay, at intervals in a series of spaces separated by space or by time. So an interval, a period between two events. We meet each other at regular intervals, about once a week. When you plant these trees, you should plant them with an interval of 3 meters between each tree. An interval, a period in the middle of a performance or a sporting event. There will be a 15-minute interval during the play. At intervals repeated again and again at a particular time period or a particular distance. So this interval, a pause or a break, an interval to rest in, an intervening time. Okay, and then this interval training. You sprint for 5 minutes, or sprint for a minute, you jog for a minute, and then you rest for a minute, and then you repeat again. This could be your interval training. Interval, a space between things, a gap between things. That my team managed to keep the deficit to a single goal at the interval. They almost conceded another goal before the interval. There were rain showers at 20-minute intervals. Okay, so these intervals is a space between between two things. So we change seats at the interval. The interval between major earthquakes might be 100 years. The bus service restarted after an interval of 5 years. There was a long interval before he answered the telephone. He left the room and he returned after a short interval with a message for me. We had a quick drink during the interval of the play. Yeah, and when the interval came, everyone went to the bar. Okay, so during the interval, wine was served. I resumed my career after an interval of 5 years. Play continued after the tea interval. Okay, the play was stopped for an interval of 20 minutes due to rain. I knocked on the door, and after a brief interval, somebody opened it. He was Prime Minister for 20 years in a row, except for a brief interval. So interval, a 5 informality, I think you can use it anywhere. We've got, this comes from Latin, intervallum, space between, or inter, between, and vallum, the walls, the palisade, so between the walls, an interval. So, interval.